Bonjour, and welcome to another edition of Scott Nagle's Tennis Tips. I'm Scott Nagle, bringing you a tip today from Monaco at the Monte Carlo Country Club. We'll also be filming part of our tip today in Nice, France. Our off-court topic today is going to be covering match preparation and pre-match rituals, particularly what to do once you've established your strategy against your opponent. A great start in match preparation is to know your game style and to know the game style of your opponent. There are several strategies out there, so we're going to choose one today, which is to attack the net and to be aggressive. And we're going to focus more on what to do once we've established our strategy. One idea is to write out a match plan, the tactics that you would use to employ the strategy that you're going to use for the match. Think of what advice you might give another player who's going to play against the same opponent. Your plan might also include a list of all your opponent's strengths and weaknesses, how you might avoid their strengths and attack their weaknesses. Also, how your game style matches up against their game style and the best way to exploit them. You also might consider all the different ways you would attack, such as their second serve, a short ball, or when you've hit a particularly strong ball in the court, that's the time to come to the net and finish up your game plan. Now that your strategy is starting to take some form and you have a plan, let's look at some ways that you can maximize your pre-match rituals. Try to avoid changes in your routine, from good sleep habits and good nutrition to proper hydration several days prior or even several weeks prior to your match. Make sure you pack your tennis bag at least one day before. It's a good idea to have a list of the things that you typically would carry in your tennis bag, items such as your hat, maybe a towel, a bottle of water, and most importantly, your match notes. You want to make sure you don't have any equipment issues once the match begins. The day of your match, if it's possible, you want to try to practice at least 2 or 3 hours prior to your match time for about 20 minutes. If this isn't possible, perhaps a jog or even some stretching is a good idea. You also want to begin to look over your match notes, your strategy, your plan. You also want to visualize points that you might be playing, see yourself winning those points and how the match might go for you. You want to visualize any speed bumps that might come your way. You might break a string, your opponent might be late, and maybe noisy in the court next door to you. You want to imagine and visualize how you might handle these situations calmly and with confidence. Knowing that you've got your bag packed well the night before, you can handle any kind of change in venue. Maybe you have to play outside, you're expected to play inside. Also imagine being down love 30 or love 40 and how you'll fight your way back to winning those games and eventually the match. Use the hour prior to your match to relax, stretch, visualize, and look over your match plan. I've seen players show up to a match straight from work or from school, distracted. It takes them several games of that match to even consider a strategy against their opponent. Finally, make a log of your match and the results. Things you might include would be the weather, the time of day you played, how your confidence was, what the score was, and things you might want to change for the next time that you play this opponent. Always prepare well for your matches. Stick to a game plan that works for you. Make small adjustments as needed. Stay tuned for more tips from Scott Nagle Tennis. We'll see you on the court.
You and I go